I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. My name is Alexis Grace. I attend Martha Ellen Stillwell School of the Arts, representing Troupe 8068, and this is my prop construction Thespy. Here's a play synopsis. Gathering Blue follows Kira, a young girl who lives in a village that values usefulness above compassion. After her mother's death, Kira avoids being cast out because of her exceptional skill in weaving and dyeing. As she works on the singer's robe, a ceremonial textile that's used to control the village's history and future, Kira begins to realize that the council manipulates the truth and limits knowledge. Through these realizations and the discovery of the rare color blue, Kira gains awareness and hope, choosing to remain in the village and challenge the system within. Here's a props list: the singer's robe, the singer's staff, Kira's scrap of cloth, Kira's walking stick / crutch, Kira's mother's pendant, plants and dyeing materials, basic furniture like cots, chairs, and a table, weaving / carving tools, and my featured prop, a tapestry clothesline. What is the prop? I created a clothesline-inspired tapestry made of burlap that holds removable patches representing Kira's realizations as she learns about her council and community throughout the play. Unlike the singer's robe, which is meticulously woven to present a council-approved version of history, the removable patches emphasize change and revision. As Kira's understanding evolves, patches are added to symbolize her growing awareness. How does it function? This prop is designed to be folded and carried on stage by villagers. After it is brought on stage, it can then be hung on a clothesline to mimic the drying of fabric or clothes. The patches on the front are removable by magnets and can be arranged at any time. My research: an apocalyptic future. This is the set time of the play, and it is shown in the ruins. Instead of just choosing my materials based off what I thought the play was, I felt that my research needed to harbor in how burlap is used across all medias, how burlap is used in art projects, how burlap can be used in costumes, and even through Shakespeare. It's used to portray certain moments in time and certain eras. The colors, the hues, and the texture can give an overall estimate of what time period someone is looking at or the social class of the people in the play. Materials lists include burlap, 7 stretch canvases, 2 5x7s and 5 8x10s, 2 flat canvases that are both 5x7, acrylic paint, yarn needle, embroidery floss in colors red, yellow, green, and blue, jute twine, round wooden dowels, 4 miniature easels, 5 neodymium disc magnets, 5 paper clips, hot glue, rocks, and my Gathering Blue playbook. Construction. So my first steps of this process were to take my wooden dowels and hot glue them together to form a circle shape. I then took my jute twine to knot and wrap around, and after that, I wanted to make a base. So I took one of my canvases and I stained it with brown paint and water, and it gave me a really nice hue, a really nice grounding earthy hue, and I felt I could work with that just well. So then I took that same shade and I put that over my wooden dowels to get something like this picture that you're seeing on the right. Next up, I ran into a problem and I realized that the canvas wasn't supportive for the dowel, which I felt would happen, so I had a couple of easels on hand and I decided to glue the easels from the base onto the dowel to support them and to hold it up. After I did that, I realized that it needed a flat base to sit on, so I glued a canvas onto the bottom of my other canvas. This one happened to be a flatter canvas and not a stretched canvas. Then I ran into one more issue. I noticed that the balance wasn't quite even. One side could be tugging on the other, so I decided to take some of my jute twine and to wrap it around the base and wrap it under the canvases. However, it wouldn't lay flat, so I had to rip the flat canvas off of the stretch canvas and put the twine underneath and then re-glue it. And by the time I was done with that, it was sitting, it was even, I was well. Next processes, I made 2 of them and I put my burlap over it. I measured it. It was maybe around 55 inches. All of my twine I used was around 55 inches. I put around 9 rocks on each base to hold it up because once I put the burlap over, I noticed that it was way heavier than both of the supports, so I needed something to weigh them down. With the burlap, I started to sew some embroidery, and I felt this was very fitting for Kira as she is a weaver. So I felt all the colors that are present beforehand of the blue would be good on one side, and the blue would be present on the other. I also started painting my patches. I wanted them to be very simple, but I still wanted them to be telling of what happened in the story. So I was thinking of a pictogram type of picture, but I also wanted it to have its own essence to it. I didn't want it to be too modernized because this isn't a modernized story. I made doubles of each except for the last one, because once you flip the burlap, that would be the last piece to the puzzle, and that would be the realization. I ran into another issue when trying to attach these pieces onto my burlap. That issue was I needed washers and I didn't have any. So I decided to construct a mechanism where the magnet would slide into 2 buttons sewn onto the burlap. However, it was too heavy to support, and it would take quite a lot of work for the actors. So then I thought about taking a paper clip and sliding it through the burlap so the magnet can hook onto that. However, I did not want the paper clip to be visible from the audience. Then I thought about taking a paper clip and putting that onto the burlap. But I realized I didn't want my prop to look modern from the naked eye. It was too visible, and I wanted to keep everything in the same genre, in the same era. So then I decided I would glue the magnet onto the back of the canvas. These canvases do not have a frame, so they aren't as heavy as they would have been. I glued the magnet onto the back of the canvas, and then I took a paper clip behind it to secure it, and I found that's the easiest way that actors would be able to put on the patches and act like they're sewing or hammering by just simply putting the two together. It's removable, and if a paper clip happens to fall from the top, the magnets on the bottom will catch it. The symbolism of blue. The first side of the tapestry uses red, green, and yellow to represent the council's approved understanding of the community. These colors feel structured and orderly, reflecting the version of history Kira is initially taught to accept. The removable patches on this side show her early realizations, but they still exist within the boundary of what the council allows her to see. The patches remain the same after the flip because the events themselves have not changed. What changes is the framework around them. The lines are now blue, symbolizing that Kira is viewing the same information through a new lens of truth and awareness. My expense sheet. This expense sheet includes jute twine at $4.26, embroidery floss at $5.17, burlap at $7.47, and neodymium disc magnets at $10.98. My total is $27.88. Everything else on the materials list I already owned. This is the final prop, and the front is on the left, the back is on the right, and here are some extra pictures of the full burlap and the supports. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.